Dave Potter and Nick Springate were great friends. Back in early 1970s, there was an awful lot of boat racing going on. We were very fortunate to have high-speed powerboat racing right available in the Pacific Northwest. Coming from Vancouver and Dave from Seattle, it was great to be able to compete with these high-powered tunnel boat hulls that allowed them to sail across the water at an incredible rate of speed. These particular crafts were about 17, 18 feet long with a great deal of horsepower, and there were races from May through October in the Pacific Northwest, both Washington and British Columbia and Oregon. And both Dave and Nick, at young age, we were probably in our early 20s when we were fortunate enough to have these crafts and the ability to go to these various events and compete. Was a great deal of fun. Here we are at the airport buying aircraft fuel for the powerboats. There's the Potter motorhome and number 226, that's Carolyn. And there's Beverly, my sweetheart of the day, David with 226, and you can see the emblems that signify that he was U.S. #1, a champion in his day. And look at the hair on both of us. I must admit, we were wild and randy kids. We certainly enjoyed the battleship. I believe that we climbed aboard and frolicked about on a major piece of hardware. There's the motorhome and the powerboat. Here we are riding the big guns. Nick and Bev. There's David Potter. What a relaxed individual. Here he is driving high speed in a very busy mixed marathon course in Bremerton. His big nemesis of the day was Dick Sharp, who ran Evinrude. We were Mercury guys, and you can see the acceleration. And of course there's Dick, and I believe that particular day Dave did win. There he is in his uniform accepting the trophy and beer. Being underage, Dave had to take another look and see if he might have to surrender it, but no, I believe it was all consumed. We are looking at some of the early boat racing footage from Washington State. This would be Lake Stevens, where I first met Dave Potter. Coming from Vancouver, I got a chance to come down to Seattle and take a look at some of the crafts that were racing. I grew up on the water and always enjoyed fast boats. This was a chance to see the real big-time boat racers from Seattle area. Two engines became very popular, big Mercury outboards. This is an example of popcorn and the original tunnel hulls that came out in the early 70s. And we were fortunate to start boat racing right when the big revolution occurred, when Molinaries invented the tunnel hull. And this is U-226, Dave Potter's very first race boat. He purchased that with his father, Les Potter, and they drove it out at Hood Canal. There's the pit area at Lake Stevens, everybody getting ready to go. And this was the year that the Glastron Molinary, the yellow boats that were there's an example of one, the various racing crafts. These were the deep V's that literally flew. They no longer race. Everybody has moved to these kinds of tunnel hulls, and there's an example of the Glastron Molinary come up from California, I believe, to run. This is the old Switzer craft. Don't see those anymore. Very unusual design. The one that Dave had, this was from M&P here in Burnaby, British Columbia. There's Dave's first new Molinary, the Stinger, with a stacker engine. There he is running at Kent Des Moines, and a very, very rough race course. Beautiful day, but open sea to a large degree, and lots of mishaps. But I do believe Dave was able to win those races that day with his new yellow Glastron Molinary and beat the competition, which was really always what he was out to do. Here's a better look at his boat. 226 was his number. He called it the Stinger, and there is the open stack exhaust that was very popular, incredibly loud in the day, unmistakable. And these were the various crafts that were racing. We thought it was big time, but very soon we learned that there were others out there who were even more involved in boat racing and had an idea about the future that was radically different. And Dave and Les decided they were going to go boat racing in a very, very big way with the Mercury Factory team offerings. And it was because these two gentlemen, Ted May and Barry Woods, came up from Oregon and California to dominate and set the pace from a factory racing point of view.